Hi everyone, this was a highly requested video. I'm going to jam pack it with a Chanel comparison of all of the classic flaps. So the only one missing is the maxi. I've got the jumbo here, single flap, the medium classic flap, the small classic flap, which is not mine, I will explain in a bit. And then this is the caramel mini rectangular flap, the iridescent gold square mini flap, and then the Chanel WOC or the wallet on chain. So 6 bags lined up so you can kind of get a sense of sizes from the outside, although it's kind of deceiving what will fit inside. So I will start from the right with the smallest. So this right here is the classic Chanel wallet on chain. They have since changed this from a snap closure to a magnetic closure, and then more recently they updated it to have a turn lock closure. So I'll insert a picture here. I recently went into the Chanel boutique and I saw this on display, and I personally am old school. I like the small CC. I like how it's proportionally really small compared to the rest of the wallet on chain. It's more discreet. I love how it's flat. This is one of the bags that I like to bring on travels, so it packs really nicely, and I don't like the protruding larger turn lock CC that they've changed it to, but that's just my personal opinion. I know some people really love the fact that the new WOCs resemble more of the classic flaps because it has the turn lock. So let me know what you think. Do you prefer the old flat CC hardware on the wallet on chains, or do you like that they have added the turn lock to these? So this is what it looks like here. This is going to be the slimmest and the smallest bag of this lineup here. I'm going to share with you mod shots as we go along the way so you can see how it looks on my frame. I am about 5 feet 6 inches tall, and I will also include what fits inside just to give you an idea of the interior capacity. So here's what it looks like on the inside. Now this is going to have the thinnest, most dainty chain strap. The other ones I'll show you in a moment are thicker, and then when you go up to the jumbo, it is the thickest chain strap, so it's going to be proportional to the size of the bag. So here, let me take this out. I've gotten many questions over the years. This is just a really simple base shaper that I picked up from an Australian brand called MBoutique. And if I have a link or a promo code, I will try to put it down below in my description box. But I'm not sure if I still have it anymore. But this is what it looks like on the inside. And I'll keep this out because not everybody owns the base shaper. But when you don't have it, it lays pretty flat, which is nice again for packing for travel. But I like to store it with the base shaper, and I like to use it with the base shaper because it really opens up the bag, and I feel like you can fit more easily that way. So I'm going to give you an idea with this phone case here. This is an empty iPhone Pro Max case. It's the largest, and then I have a styrofoam here to mimic a phone since I'm using my phone to film this video. So in the main compartment, it fits quite easily, as you can see, with some room to spare. So for example, if you wanted to put a lipstick or 2 lipsticks. You can also add in a hand sanitizer. And if you wanted to use a flat card holder like this one here to keep your cards and cash in, you can do that as well, and it will fit. It starts to get a little bit snug this way, but as you can see, everything fits so far. Now me, typically when I use this bag, I will take the cards and cash out of my card wallet and I will put it in this compartment here. This is a really nice secure zippered compartment. This right now has the authenticity card in it. And in the past, when I had smaller iPhones, I would put it in here. But as you can see, because I have the largest one now, it's quite snug with the case. It still fits, but if you have the entire WOC filled on the inside, it's going to be hard to close, and you really don't want to stretch out the leather. But if you have a smaller size phone, then it might fit more easily, and then that spares some room on the inside main compartment. Also, I know people who use these card slots. There are 6 card slots, 3 on each side, but I find my fingers have a hard time pulling out the cards when I'm in a rush to pay for something, so I haven't used these card slots very much. Of all of these bags here, this is going to have the most compartments. So aside from this zippered compartment, you also have this slim compartment. You can put receipts or a Metro card or something flat. And then of course this one as well. And then you have this cool compartment here, which is very different from the zippered compartment on the inner flaps of the classic flaps. I'll show you to compare. But this one here, it goes all the way down to the very bottom. My fingertip reaches the bottom. So this is like a hidden secret compartment that's very roomy. And when I travel, I will use this for passports. So I keep my family's passports in this little envelope pouch. But if it's just me traveling and I'm on the go, I will stick this all the way down. It does not bend the passport because it goes right up to here, and then the flap is above it. So if you had x-ray vision, you would see your passport right snug against the wall of this cool pocket here. And this way it's extra secure when you're out and about. You also have this back pocket, which is the Mona Lisa smile pocket. That's what it's often referred to. I very, very rarely use this. If I wanted to stick like a gum wrapper or a receipt or something, I might, but I very rarely use it. Okay, now also I wanted to mention that the chain strap length on the wallet on chain is going to be the longest out of all of these bags. So for me, since I'm not like model-esque tall, I will often just crisscross this to make it a little bit shorter. It's perfect for one shoulder. And also I like to have it sit higher up when I wear it crossbody, so that works as well. You can also, if you wanted to have the chain as an adornment, you can crisscross it like this with the chain. You can also play around with it so that it's triple chained. A lot of different ways to make this very versatile and have fun with it. And then they also sell, not from Chanel, but from third parties, you can purchase the clips that shorten the interior of your chain. So I have that clip. I just never use it. I find it to be cumbersome. So, for example, it's a small little hardware piece that you can probably get off of Amazon. Whatever length that you wanted to shorten the chain, and this way it'll sit more comfortably on you depending on your height. But I know for those who are taller or bustier and they like their bags to hang longer, this chain strap works really well. But for me, it's just a little on the long side. Okay, so I'm going to do size comparisons of each bag side by side as we go along. So here, if you were curious, this is the wallet on chain on the right with the mini square flap on the left. Very different silhouettes, as you can see, super slim on the WOC on the right, and then more puffy, definitely more space on the sides. You've got more depth on the mini classic flap. Again, the square one. Here is a view from the top. You can see, I almost feel like you can have two of the WOC side by side and it would be close to the depth of the mini square flap. And here is a view from the bottom of each bag. You can see the base is much wider on the mini square compared to the WOC, even with the base shaper opening it up. Maybe this upside down view is helpful. And I just want to show you very quickly, side by side from the tops of the bags, roughly. The wallet on chain strap is definitely a few inches longer, about this much longer, than the mini square flap chain. So here you have the classic turn lock. And let me take this out. Here's what it looks like. It's quite square, as you can see. It's got one zippered compartment on the back, which I hardly ever use, and then an open pocket here, which I don't think I've ever used. And then you have the back pocket, again, the Mona Lisa. And this as well, I have not used. So this one is the iridescent lambskin. It's from 2021. It's the 21P collection. And I was concerned about the iridescent lambskin, peeling or wearing very easily, but so far it's holding up fine. The corners are still looking pretty clean. There might be a little bit of rub, but nothing really noticeable. And I like to use this bag for date nights. It's more formal because of the gold, in my opinion, and I hardly ever take this to travel. I feel like when it comes to being like a more practical workhorse piece, it's definitely the black wallet on chain for me. So I'm going to use the same items to show you the interior capacity. This is that iPhone Pro Max case, and believe it or not, it still fits in the mini square, but it's kind of snug. So when I use this, I'm just a little bit more careful because I don't want to stretch out the sides, but it fits perfectly. If I were to get a phone any larger, I think it would be hard to get it in or impossible to get it in, but that fits perfectly like that. And then there's plenty of room this way because of the depth. And so again, let's just put in a hand sanitizer to give you an idea. And now this one, if you wanted to use the card wallet, I would encourage that because there aren't as many slots as there are in the wallet on chain to put your cards in cash. And then again, the two lipsticks if you wanted to, and there's still plenty of space here. So here's my key pouch with my keys inside. That's pretty slim, so that fits quite easily. Not to make it look all like a Tetris game here, but I do appreciate how neat everything stacks inside. Here is the Hermès Bastia coin purse. I've got some foreign coins in there. If you want to stick that in, you can kind of squeeze that in as well. And then you can put something on top, like a hand lotion or a flat pair of sunglasses, and that closes up. So you can see this is going to be a little bit roomier than the WOC this way, even though it's shorter lengthwise. Also, just a couple of other items. This is the Chanel Mini O case. If you have this as a catch-all or as a wallet, I sometimes use this as a wallet. It does fit horizontally, fits perfectly fine. Also, if you're one of those people that carries your mini pochette from LV all over the place and has to go from bag to bag with you, I'll show you this also fits. Now, if you're gonna stuff your mini pochette, it might be snug, and this little tail often gets caught, but if you wanted to use that, you can. Obviously, you wouldn't do both. It's too tight of a squeeze, but you can put your mini pochette and then your other items here. I just feel like it's kind of silly to use a larger pochette like this inside a mini bag because it takes up so much space, but I did want to show you it is possible. Just to be fair, since I didn't show this before in the wallet on chain, this is what it looks like with the base shaper in there and then the mini O case. It's quite tight. You can definitely close it, but there's not much space left. And then it's going to probably be even more snug with the mini pochette, but I'll show you in case it's helpful. There you have it. It pretty much takes like 85 to 90% of the main compartment up with very little space to spare. Now this right here is maybe about 75% full. It's not even packed to the brim, so if you do pack it to the brim, it's just going to take up even more space. But I wanted to show you that. All right, next I'm going to give you the details on the mini rectangular flap in the caramel color. But first I wanted to show you a side-by-side comparison of the strap lengths. As I said before, the chain strap for the wallet on chain is by far the longest. So I'd say it is a couple of inches longer than the mini rectangular flap, as you can see. And then the mini square is shortest. But let me show you the difference in the size of the chains and the width here. On the wallet on chain, just to be more proportional with the slim silhouette of the WOC, you have a very slim chain strap, and then it gets a little bit thicker for the puffier mini flaps. And here we're comparing the chain lengths of the two mini flaps. The square, like I said, is going to be a little bit shorter. It's at least 1.5 inches shorter. And then the mini rectangle is a little bit longer. Now for me, again, I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall. I love the way this square sits on me, both crossbody, especially crossbody. I love it because I kind of like things to sit a little higher up for me. That's a personal preference. But also on one shoulder, it looks really nice and it's very comfortable. The mini rectangular flap as well, I find to be comfortable, especially if I'm wearing bulkier coats or thicker sweaters. When I wear this crossbody, it sits just fine. I feel like the added layers of the clothing makes it just hit exactly where I want it to. When I wear this one shoulder length though, it feels a little bit long, like it's kind of dipping under my hip. But obviously the way these bags are going to lay on you are going to depend on your body shape and also your height. So it's a matter of preference as well, where you want it to hit. But hopefully these length comparisons are helpful. Now here's a quick comparison of the outside of the mini square and the mini rectangle. Obviously one is square, one is rectangle. The rectangle is just a smidge shorter, a little bit, and then the square has less length overall. You can see. But I feel like the square might be a little bit puffier. Could just be this version of the bag. The sides are similar in depth. It might be an optical illusion. This looks wider or puffier to me because it's a lighter color from the top. And then here it is from the bottom. See, even from the bottom, the mini square has more depth to it, whereas the rectangle mini has more length, but then it gives away some space in the depth, right? I don't think it's an optical illusion anymore. I think it's accurate. And here is the comparison with the wallet on chain. Length is quite similar, although the mini rectangle is just a smidge longer. And of course, it's going to be much deeper, so you can fit more, as you can see. Oh, let's turn it around. Okay. And then here it is from the top. So obviously the WOC is the only bag here that doesn't have the grommets on top because it just has a simple flap, and then you can use this chain strap to wrap it around if you wanted to shorten it and play around with it. Whereas the bags with the grommets, you're not really going to be able to wrap the strap because there's holes up here, but you can pull them through. And again, if you wanted to shorten it with the little clip that I mentioned, that little hardware piece that they sell, you can shorten it like that if you wanted to. So this as well is from 2021. It's the 21P caramel collection, and I think it's holding up great even though it is a soft lambskin. I find that you don't really have to baby lambskin all that much. There's so many scares out there, but I would say that this is one of my most used bags and it's holding up just fine, just as well as my caviar leather. So again, the back has the Mona Lisa pocket, which I don't find super functional, but it's pretty. And then you've got the turn lock. On both of these, this is the champagne light gold hardware. It's not the true stark yellow. I think some people prefer the real yellow, and I tend to like the more subtle yellow. So here it is. This is what it looks like on the inside. Same configuration as the mini square. So it's got the zippered compartment against the wall and the open pocket as well, which again, I don't really use these very often, just use the main compartment. So same thing with the phone, goes right in easily, plenty of space because you have the length and also the depth. Here we'll put the card holder. We'll also put the Bastia coin purse and the keys. And you can see so far it looks like that. If I wanted to stand up the hand sanitizer, that goes in easily. 2 lipsticks. Fits right in there perfectly. This was not planned. I love how organized that looks, and you don't have to rummage or dig to the bottom of the bag to find something. You have a little bit of space up here, but not very much because it's shorter, and it closes very, very easily. Voila. Okay, now we jump to a true classic flap, the small size. Now this one is not mine. It is beautiful though. Look at the sheen on that caviar leather. This is pre-loved, but very, very lightly used. I am selling this on behalf of one of my Instagram followers. Kind of a long story, but I was helping my friend sell her medium classic flap, and I posted it on Instagram. And then this gal here, she bought it, but she said, if I buy your friend's medium, can you help me sell my small? And I thought, that's fair enough. I will try my best. So I am, with her permission, featuring her beautiful bag in this video just to share the size comparison, but also if you are on the market and looking for a small classic flap in the black caviar silver hardware, definitely let me know. You can email me or DM me on Instagram. I'll make sure to put all my contact information down below in my description box, and you can reach out to me. So here's what it looks like on the back. It's in pristine condition. There are only 2 notable things that I wanted to mention in terms of condition. There is this light scratch on the bottom here. It's not fully through the leather, but looks like some kind of scuff, maybe got caught on fingernail or something like that. But otherwise, corners are clean. The rest of the base is clean. Hardware is pristine. That's what it looks like on the inside. I was tempted actually to keep this for myself. Like, should I just buy it from her? That's the danger of consignment, and this is why I don't really do consignment. But as a favor, of course, I was happy to help. So this is the second thing I would note. This part here where you open the bag is a little bit stretched out, as you can see, but that's the inside of the bag, so no one else is going to see it. I think it's a really nice quality, puffy, shiny caviar, if that's what you love. I think it's really nice. Made in France with the burgundy lining. She also has this organizer insert in here, so the inside is squeaky clean. And the structure is beautiful. This is a microchip, by the way. Full set, comes with the original receipt, all the original tissue paper, a dust bag, everything. So let me now do the quick comparison. Here are the 2 black beauties side by side. You've got the wallet on chain and you've got the small classic flap. Pretty considerable size difference, especially when you turn it sideways here, you can see. And then from the top as well. And then from the bottom, you can definitely see that the small classic flap is going to fit much more. Here it is with the mini square flap. I don't think I've ever done this comparison before. I couldn't have because I don't own the small one. So this is actually really interesting for me as well. Hopefully this is helpful. And let me show you the bottom. I am being extra careful in how I handle the small classic flap since it's not mine. I'm pretty good about taking care of all of my bags, but when it's not mine, I'm being extra gingerly to care for it. So there we go. And then let's start from the bottom with the mini rectangular flap. Similar, right, in depth. I think almost exactly the same. Yeah, it's quite similar. And there is a whole debate about these two sizes. Some people say, might as well save some money and just get the mini rectangular flap. Some people say they want the true original classic flap, double flap. So I'll show you. I think many of us are already familiar, but the classic flaps have this interior double flap. It's kind of like a bag within a bag design, and you've got the double stitching here. So this is going to give you more privacy. There's also a snap closure. This is one of the elements that make the classic flaps kind of unique, and the mini flaps don't have that. But I think if the mini flaps also had the interior flaps, they would give up maybe too much precious space because they're already so small. But one of the benefits is that if you have this inner flap, it really helps to keep the structure of the bag, and it doesn't sort of like concave with just the one flap. So that's one of the things, but it adds leather, it adds weight. It also takes away a little bit of the interior capacity. You've got the old school lipstick holder in the middle and then two open pockets, right? And then you have this pocket as well where you can squeeze your phone. There's also this hidden pocket down here. So this is not actually a pocket, but some people I've seen in older videos say like, oh, this is an extra hidden pocket, and they would stick stuff in there. That is actually not a good idea, because when you do that, you are going to start to put pressure on the stitching here between the two flaps, and then the stitches will eventually pop or tear because you're not supposed to be sticking anything in between. This is again just a bag within a bag concept with a double flap. So this is really the secret pocket, but on the classic flaps, the secret pocket goes upward. Unlike with the wallet on chain where I went all the way down to the bottom of the bag and I can hide my passports, this one only goes up. So it's like an inch, half an inch. Story goes that back in the day, Coco Chanel, Gabrielle Chanel herself, used to hide her love letters in this little pocket. I don't know what else we could use this for. It's just there aesthetically, because I think nowadays on the classic flaps, this is kind of a useless pocket, but at least it has a cool and fun story to it. So that's what this small flap looks like. And then with the classic flaps, of course, unlike the minis, you can double it up because it has 4 grommets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas you only have 2 grommets, so you just pull it through once on the minis. So this is what it looks like doubled up. It's very elegant, it's super ladylike, very chic. It's right under your arm. It looks nice dressed up, or you can also just wear jeans and dress it down like this, but it's tucked, so it looks really nice. And then you can also pull this. You can either pull it from the back so that it has the front chain kind of sitting up front, almost like a nice embellishment. Some people like this look. And then when you pull it through, it is a longer shoulder bag. So this is going to be a drop shoulder bag on one side. Some people will try to wear this crossbody. It might look a little funny depending on your height and your body, but I do think for certain days when you want to be hands-free, it's really nice to be able to use this crossbody if you wanted to. And then you can also just pull it through this way so that the back has the little piece and then the front has the length. So this is what it looks like from the front here. Okay. All right, so once again, I'm going to put the same items, the iPhone Pro Max. Let's see here. This is what it looks like with just the phone. Here is the card wallet. But since you have more compartments here, you can actually use these little pockets as well if you wanted to just put your cards in cash. Here's the coin purse, keys, hand sanitizer once again, lipstick, and another lipstick. Now you can try to shimmy your lipstick into this little lipstick pocket, but I have tried it on mine on the medium size. It's really tight. I think that the lipsticks back in the day were much slimmer in the case, whereas this case is bulkier nowadays. And also I don't want to stretch this out, so I'm not going to try it, but that's what it looks like so far. You can definitely put some smaller sunglasses or reading glasses right on top if you wanted to do that. But I would say this is pretty much packed like 85 to 90% And you don't want to pack it too full because then you'll stretch out the bag. Show you once again how the mini pochette fits. That's what it looks like with the mini pochette. And then the Chanel Mini O case. Again, I don't know that anybody would do this, but there you have it. And then just by itself, looks like so. And here I brought a full-size Continental wallet to show you that it will actually fit, but it's not very balanced to put something so big in the small classic flap, but let me show you. That's what it looks like inside, and it takes up a lot of space, but it works. So I quickly actually repacked this with the other items, the smaller items, the key pouch, card wallet, phone, 2 lipsticks, hand sanitizer, and the coin purse, because I wanted to see on top if a pair of sunglasses would actually fit. I wanted to show you. So I grabbed just my Gucci sunglasses here in a soft pouch. Okay. And I'm just going to tie it up. And let's see if it sits right on top. Because if you're driving and you need your sunglasses or your glasses right on top of everything. And let's see. Oh, so it does fit. No protrusion. It's not sticking out anywhere. The leather doesn't feel like it's being stretched in any way. It still lays flat on the top with the flap. So yeah, this definitely fits more than any of the minis and definitely more than the WOC. Okay, I also wanted to show you the chain lengths once again. So this is the small classic flap, and the one on top is the mini rectangular flap. And you can see there are several inches. There's about this much of a difference in the length because, again, this has the 4 grommets and can be worn short shoulder or long shoulder. So it's going to be a different length compared to the minis. And then, of course, with the mini square, it's going to be a little closer in length because the mini square is shorter, as you can see, but still there is a considerable length difference with the small classic flap being shorter, and it's really not meant for crossbody. And lastly, you cannot even see the end of the wallet on chain, so pull it down. Now you can see it. The difference in the chain length is even more significant when you compare it to the long chain strap of the wallet on chain. So the bottom one is the small classic flap, the top one is the medium classic flap, and the chain lengths are just about an inch apart, not that significant of a difference, but keep in mind this is a much older one, so this is over 20 years old, vintage. All right, so like I said, vintage, 20 years, maybe close to 25 years. And as you can see, this is lambskin, and it's the silver hardware. Love this combination. And let me open it up for you. I have this cloth to keep it from getting indented. Super, super soft, has gotten so soft over the years. You know, with your natural oils from your hands and just usage, leather should become softer, it should patina beautifully, it should just get more supple, and that is what this has done. So the inside is the exact same configuration. You've got the burgundy lining. There are some seasons in the past where they did the black lining for the black bags, but this is the burgundy lining made in France. I think this is a 6 series. You've got this pocket here. And then again, the zippered compartment, the secret letters compartment only goes upward, does not go down at all. Okay. So let me start with the small and the medium comparison because I think that's the most helpful. A lot of times people are trying to choose between these two sizes, and I know that there are different types of leathers, so it's kind of like apples and oranges, but the sizes are going to be consistent, right? So lambskin versus caviar, but both black with silver hardware. You see how the silver pops, looks so fresh. There we have it. Size is so similar. The medium is just a hair taller. Here from the side. This is what it looks like. Okay, from the top, let's move the chains out of the way. This one, the lambskin looks a little skinnier, not because it was made that way, but I think it just sort of became a little bit more pointy with usage. But you can get a sense here. And then I'll show you the bottoms. Here are the bottoms. And you can see from the bottom, slight difference in size. Both will have the double flap, so both will lose a little bit of that interior capacity just because of the design. Now, everywhere that I have watched videos over the years, I found that the small and the medium fit pretty much the same amount, roughly. So I'm going to do the same thing, the iPhone Pro Max, the card holder, and my key pouch. Okay. Hand sanitizer. You could technically put it in here if you wanted to, but just to stay consistent with how I've been packing the other bags, let's just put it in the main compartment. Okay. I can see there's a little bit more space here just because of that extra space in the length. So before I had to stack the hand sanitizer up front, but now it sits on the side. And then you've got the two lipsticks. Let's see if I can put them side by side. Yep, works just fine. And the sunglasses. But before I put the sunglasses, let me see if I can just fit another little pouch. Make believe this is a pack of tissues or a pack of gum, because I do think there's more space. Okay, yeah. So that fits in as well. It's protruding a little bit, not really. Also, this is an older bag and this is lambskin, so it's a bit more pliable, right? Caviar is going to be a little bit more structured. And then the glasses, which fit fine in the small, so it should fit fine in the medium as well. Let's see. And I never ever use this snap. It's just so cumbersome and not necessary. So let's see if I can just close the turn lock. Yep. Perfectly fine again. So you might be able to fit one or two smaller items in the medium classic flap that you wouldn't be able to fit in the small size, but it's a very small difference. Again, the full-size Continental wallet that fits easily, but takes up quite a bit of space. All right. And finally, the mini pochette that fits easily as well. And then if you wanted to use the mini O case, you could do both. They fit side by side if they're not super packed. And then this by itself leaves plenty more space. This is going to be much more slim compared to the mini pochette that has like a trapezoidal shape to it. So I know that the medium is very popular. This is kind of like the classic one. When people talk about a classic flap, they're usually referring to the medium, but I feel like the small is also really pretty. And if I had actually considered the small early on, I might have been just as happy and maybe wouldn't have gotten the medium. In fact, like proportionally, I think the small looks better on my frame. I don't know. My husband seemed to agree, but I don't need to add more obviously since I have the minis as well. And I'll get to the jumbo in a minute. But the quickest way to find out what size a classic flap is, let's say you just see it on somebody and you like it, or you see it in a photo on social media and you're like, what size is that? Is to count the number of quilts. I actually helped someone with this on Instagram recently because she asked me about a bag that was either a jumbo or a maxi, and she was like, which one is it? And I knew right away by the number of quilts. So the small size here, you count the full quilts, not the ones that are cut off. So starting from here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full-size quilts across the flap. That means that it is a small classic flap. When it comes to the medium size, you're going to have 8 quilts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full-size quilts going across. So I don't know if it's really helpful to get into this level of granular detail, but here's the medium classic flap next to the mini square. Okay, the mini looks quite mini next to it. And then here's the medium next to the mini rectangular flap. They look so short and stout, right, compared to the classics. Well, they're all considered classics now, but here you go. I actually really do prefer the ease of the single flap, because getting in and out is so much easier and you just don't lose much space since it is a traditional single flap, whereas, you know, the original design here, it can get a little bit cumbersome to hold this open. And then finally here is the medium with the wallet on chain. Super slim wallet on chain in comparison, and shorter. And here's the bottom. But I feel like this one is my most used and probably my favorite if I could only keep one. I mean, that's tough, but if I was forced to only keep one, I might just keep this one because it's so versatile and I can wear it casually or dressed up. Yeah. Okay, and then last but not least is my jumbo, but this is the jumbo single flap that they had released years ago only for a few seasons. And now you cannot get the single flap in the boutiques. You'd have to find one pre-loved because the jumbos are also usually made with the double flap. This one has a single, as you can see. So you can tell by the grommets. These have the 2 grommets side by side. So 4 in total, but side by side. Whereas the double flap jumbo will have the grommets this way side by side, like this, 2, 2, 2, 2. But because it's facing the other way, you know it's the single flap, and it's just easier to pull this through. There's no second flap to block it. But let me show you really quickly. You can see here the chain thickness on the jumbo is just thicker compared to the other ones, right? Okay. Can you tell I love this combination, silver and black, silver and black, silver and black, and even this one, which is not mine, but still I think it's so beautiful in the silver and black. So now this is the only one where I feel like the back pocket, this Mona Lisa pocket, is actually useful. I've put my phone in here, I've put all kinds of stuff in here, and it's great. It's really handy. So let me start with that. Phone, again, largest iPhone Pro Max with the case. Fits pretty easily, and I don't feel like I'm stretching it out. So this is a really nice bonus on the jumbo. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this is the flat CC, which was also seasonally done, and this one as well is the flat CC, whereas you might have like the more rounded CC on most of the classic flaps that you see. Okay. It's just slightly different aesthetically. So let's open this up. I'm going to take out my organizer insert. And this is what it looks like in the single flap. Black interior on this one. Large zip compartment. This I also use. You can put your passport in here. I'll show you really quickly. It's very generous and roomy. You just close it back up. Super secure, right? And you can also put it in this open compartment, not as secure, but it's pretty deep. Close the zipper, and then I'll show you again. There it is. You can also put your phone in there. So the jumbo is just considerably larger. It is so spacious. So if I were to put the phone in the main compartment, you can see how much space you have for all of your other items. So I'm going to go wild here, and I'm going to keep the phone inside. I'm actually going to add the full-size Continental wallet because I know how easily it'll fit. I'll also stick the mini O case in there. There's so much space. Mini pochette, why not? Key pouch, you can stand it up. Card wallet. No one's going to pack their bag like this. There's like multiple pouches and multiple wallets in here. But just to give you an idea, you could just substitute in your mind what else you'd be packing. Hand sanitizer. Lipsticks. It's like swimming around in there. Coin purse. Sunglasses. You've got more room to spare. Another little wallet. Another card wallet. I'm not that creative. I don't know what else to pack. Now I'm just randomly grabbing stuff. So a snack bar. This little banana plushie that my daughter won for me in a claw machine while we were hanging out recently. Like, it's random, I know, but everything fits. I don't even have to doubt it. There's still space up here. The only thing with the single flap jumbo in particular is that if you overfill it and make it so heavy, when you pull the chains up, it's going to pull the flap up because it doesn't have the support of the double flap inside like these do. So when that happens, you start to see like this pointy conical effect. And if you look on the pre-loved market for single flap jumbos, you will see a lot of them are really, really pointy. So when I was looking for this jumbo single flap, I bought it pre-loved, and I was specifically looking for something that had a rounded, intact flap, because then I would know that the previous owner took good care of it and didn't overstuff it. So something to keep in mind. But this fits so much. Let me actually show you something kind of funny. So this is the wallet on chain, right? This will fit inside the jumbo. Like a mama, it's like a pregnant jumbo. It's like a kangaroo. And years ago in one of my older videos, someone had asked me if the pochette accessoire fits inside here. This one from LV. And it does quite easily. Plops right in. There you have it. Okay. And then just for kicks, here's the wallet on chain inside the medium classic flap. It's kind of snug, but it fits. I'm not going to try it with the small classic flap, but you get the idea. So here you have the small classic flap with the jumbo size comparison. Pretty significant. Let me swap this out. And here it is with the medium classic flap next to the jumbo. Still quite a big difference. So there is a big jump in size when you go from the medium to the jumbo. Whereas when you compare the medium and the small on the right, it's not that much of a difference, right? It's noticeable, but it's not huge. So just know that the size jumps quite a bit when you introduce the jumbo. And then the maxi will be even bigger, but I don't have that for this video. So here are the bottoms of the medium classic flap and the jumbo. And then from the sides, hope you don't mind it's upside down, and from the top. Same thing with the small classic flap from the top. Now these are twins, both black caviar, both silver hardware, just different sizes. Big difference, several inches in length. Here's the side and the bottom. Also, here's the back. You can see how large the Mona Lisa pocket on the jumbo is and why it is so much more functional, because it's just bigger and you can stick your phone in there and other items in there. Whereas the Mona Lisa pockets on the small versus the medium are pretty much the same size. Now, the jumbo is most commonly carried double strapped like so, just as a shoulder bag, and it hits kind of lower because it's so big. There's like this much of the bag that comes down your body, but it's very comfortable, I would say. When you pull this through, it gets really, really long. Plus, the bag is big, so it drops down further on your body. So I have never seen anyone carry the jumbo on the single long strap like this. So the chain length on the wallet on chain is almost as long as the jumbo, with the jumbo chain being just a smidge longer, but not by much. But then when you pull this up, you can see if you feel that the wallet on chain hangs too low, like I do on my body, the jumbo is going to hang even lower, because look how much longer or taller the jumbo bag is. So if this is your body, it's going to hang down even further, right? So something to keep in mind. But there is a fun way to carry this kind of like crossbody. It's like a crisscross, and I have carried it that way when I want it to be hands-free. And it's a fun way, it's a different look, and it's more secure if you're like in an area that you're not super comfortable and you don't want it dangling off of your shoulder. So that's something to consider as well. So that's the lineup, starting from the wallet on chain to the mini square, mini rectangle, small classic flap, medium, and jumbo. I hope this video has been helpful. I know that it was long overdue. If you have any questions at all, I will be reading all of the comments down below. So feel free to ask me any questions and I will try my best to answer them. Definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know which size is your favorite and why. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.